In today's game of volleyball, line judges are part of a complete officiating crew, and their role is critical to a successful match. Perhaps you're already an experienced line judge, here today to maintain your certification or improve your skills. Or maybe you're just beginning your career as a professional line judge. Either way, congratulations and welcome. It's a goal of PAVO to increase the quantity and quality of the line judge cadre. PAVO trains, certifies, and establishes professional standards for volleyball referees, line judges, and scorers. To become a PAVO certified line judge, step 1 is viewing this video. We'll discuss the other requirements later, or you can check them out on the PAVO website. Completing all steps of certification is very important. Many NCAA conferences are requiring that line judges be PAVO trained or certified. More importantly, this training process will help you improve your skills at this vital task. The referees, players, coaches, and fans all depend on the line judges for good decisions, correct techniques, and rule knowledge. The NCAA and the national coordinator recognize that line judges are an important component of a volleyball match, so they look for experienced, excellent line judges to work in all rounds of the NCAA championship tournament. Many of those championship line judges started their careers at local colleges or high schools. By working hard and perfecting their skills, they share the spotlight at this highest level of competition. In a few minutes, we'll discuss your responsibilities as a line judge once play begins, but your duties begin before match time. Just like the other members of the officiating team, punctuality and your initial image are critical. Make sure that you know the expectations of the assigner regarding your arrival time. For some matches, you should arrive in business casual dress about 60 minutes before the match starts, just as the referees do. For other matches, it may be appropriate to arrive in your line judge uniform. In either case, both line judges should arrive at the court in uniform and ready to work at least 30 minutes prior to the match start time. You may be assigned at a facility where you know some of the fans, players, or coaches. Be sure to avoid being overly friendly with anyone. Project a pleasant, neutral appearance. Your line judge uniform should reflect your professional stature and is an important part of the first impression that you make. If the institution or conference that assigned you does not require a specific uniform shirt, wear a plain white polo-style shirt or wear the same white polo that the referees wear, with the volleyball certified official logo on one sleeve. There are also medium blue and gray shirts that are now approved for wear, dependent upon your assigner's policies. Check with your assigner and/or the first referee assigned to your match for more information. Dress in navy slacks, white socks, and clean white athletic shoes. If you are currently a PAVO certified line judge, wear your certification patch on the right chest area of the shirt and the current year certification pin on the right collar lapel, unless the assigner or conference has other uniform guidelines. At any match when you arrive, introduce yourself to the first referee, the second referee, and the scorers. After introductions are complete, it's time to begin your pre-match duties. The pre-match discussion with the referees is critical, even for very experienced line judges. When possible, this communication should occur in the dressing area before the officiating team goes to the court. If the referees have already gone to the court when you arrive, the first referee will talk with the line judges in a location outside but near the playing area. The first referee will discuss your duties and signals and clarify any personal preferences on how to handle specific match situations. Listen carefully and ask questions as needed. This pre-match conference lays the groundwork for the team effort that is required to have a successfully officiated match once play begins. The team pre-match warm-up period gives the line judges the chance to mentally and physically prepare for the match. While the teams warm up with attack hits, take a discreet position, without a flag, on your assigned corner of the court, taking care not to hinder players or coaches. This match preparation provides the opportunity to become familiar with player tendencies, court markings, lighting, and the speed and height at which the match will be played. Be sure to stay on the court long enough to watch both teams during their warm-up periods, but return to the score table before the warm-up period ends. Go to a position behind the score table until the second referee whistles when the clock is at the 1-minute point. At most matches, the national anthem and player introductions take place before play starts. During those proceedings, the line judges stand near the referees on the sidelines. The line judge working on the first referee's side of the court is called Line Judge 1 or LJ1. The LJ1 stands to the right of the first referee, near the first referee's stand, during introductions. The line judge on the bench side, called Line Judge 2 or LJ2, stands to the right of the second referee, near the opposite net post. In most matches, multiple game balls are used to improve the tempo of play, and the line judges help ensure that the designated game balls are the only ones used for actual play. Before set 1, Line Judge 1 takes a flag and a game ball, or 2 if 4 game balls are being used, to the first referee's side of the court and temporarily places them on the referee stand before taking position for the anthem. Line Judge 2 leaves a game ball and a flag on the score table during the anthem and introductions. After the anthem and introductions, the line judges collect their flags and game balls and move to a position about 10 feet away from the court, behind the end line, on the sideline extended. When the second referee delivers the first game ball to the first server, both line judges give the game balls they are holding to the appropriate ball retriever on their side, then move to their base position at the corner of the court. In most matches, 2 line judges are used. The line judge's base position is at opposite corners of the court, where a sideline and an end line meet. When 2 line judges are used in a match, each line judge is responsible for judging the entire sideline and end line that intersect at their base positions. Occasionally, 4 line judges are used at a match. In that case, each line judge is responsible for judging only one sideline or one end line on the court. There are a few other technique modifications when 4 line judges are used. Ask your assigner for further instruction if you are working with a 4-person line judge crew. There are a lot of components to being an excellent line judge. You must know the applicable rules, develop great judgment, be able to anticipate the play and move athletically to make calls, applying the standard techniques and signals that provide the best communication to the referees. PAVO highly recommends the use of line judge flags to signal your decisions. Most host institutions will provide flags for your use. However, standard line judge flags are not expensive, and many line judges now purchase a set of their own. Some think of flags as the tools of the trade and bring their flags to each match. If flags are not available, you can signal using the appropriate hand signals, but this communication is less effective. This training course discusses the mechanics for both methods. Line judges work very hard while the ball is in play, so between plays, take a moment to regroup. Take a relaxed but alert stance, adjust your grip on the flag, and mentally prepare for the next play. Make sure that you don't appear to be too relaxed between plays. Don't slouch, play with the flag, or interact with players or fans. As the first referee prepares to beckon for the next serve, move to an athletic, ready position, knees bent, eyes focused on the play, and your flag ready to signal. During a match, it's typical for there to be several consecutive plays when you are not required to assist with a call. Then, a critical situation occurs where you're the only official with a good view of the play, and the referees are relying on you to quickly provide information about the play. It can be challenging to stay focused on the play and then respond with clear, demonstrative signals when a decision is needed. Great line judges are constantly moving during play without distracting the other match participants. Sometimes, the player's movements can block your view of the ball, so you'll need to adjust your position slightly to see the play develop. One of your duties is to make sure you see when and where the ball contacts the floor, which may require you to shift your feet and shoulder position. However, you must also anticipate when the ball will land near a line you are responsible for, so that you can move to a good position to focus on that line before the ball lands. When a fault occurs in your area of responsibility, make the call and hold your signal for a second or two, affirming that decision in your own mind, and make eye contact with the first referee. As you make eye contact, move to an erect, upright position. The best line judges are able to convey confidence in their decisions and signal demonstratively without calling undue attention to themselves. It's important that you are constantly in touch with the first referee. At the end of each rally, be sure to make eye contact with the first referee, whether you are involved in the decision or not. That eye contact conveys information to the first referee and assures the referees that you are prepared to make a call when needed. One primary line judge responsibility is to help the referees determine whether balls that touch the floor are in bounds or out of bounds. A ball is in when it contacts the court inside the court boundary lines, or when any part of the ball contacts any part of the sideline or end line. A ball is out when it lands completely outside the boundary lines, that is, when no part of the ball actually makes contact with the sideline or end line. When a ball completely crosses under the net or net cable, the line judges don't need to make any call at all. The referees will whistle and signal this play. When you are using a flag, the in signal is executed by pointing the flag with an extended arm at about a 45-degree angle to the floor, aiming the tip of the flag at the center of the court. When you don't have a flag, signal that a ball lands in bounds by extending both arms in front of the body at about a 45-degree angle, palms to the floor, aiming at the center of the court. To signal out of bounds when you have a flag, extend the arm holding the flag straight up and stand up straight. The tip of the flag should be pointed at the ceiling. Without a flag, signal that a ball lands out of bounds by using the same signal that the referees use. Raise both forearms vertically with your elbows bent at 90 degrees and your palms facing your shoulders. Making in and out decisions is the most visible part of your job as a line judge. Work hard to develop good techniques and check your signals to make sure they communicate your decisions clearly. Use your flag emphatically, even making it snap as you signal a close in or out call. However, after signaling, return to your base position without unnecessary drama, such as snapping the flag back into place at your side. Most importantly, practice your skills as often as possible to develop accurate judgment. Let's watch some examples of excellent line judges as we discuss a few hints about calling lines. Vision experts tell us that our decisions will be most accurate if our eyes are focused on the critical area before the ball gets there. Therefore, it is critical to develop the ability to anticipate where to focus. The ball often travels too fast to try to follow its movements. Learn to watch the player who is contacting the ball to get a sense of what direction the ball will take, and look ahead of the ball to where it might contact the floor. Learning to anticipate so that your eyes are focused in the correct area is one of the biggest challenges a line judge faces. Your base position is at the intersection of an end line and sideline, but you will have to adjust that position at times to see where the ball lands. You must anticipate and move quickly enough to be stationary when the ball contacts the floor. Research shows that accuracy increases if you're not in motion as you make judgments about the ball's contact point. As we stated, in a two-line judge crew, each line judge is responsible for the end line and the entire sideline that intersect at their corner. This arrangement means the two line judges share responsibility for the entire court. When a ball lands completely outside the end line or sideline you are responsible for, signal out clearly. When a ball lands inside the court, anywhere near the sideline or end line you're covering, signal in. Don't ever assume that the first referee doesn't need that information. You never know when the first referee may have been blocked from seeing a ball contact the floor. However, when the ball flies out of bounds over the opposite sideline or end line, the ones the other line judge is responsible for, you should not make an in or out call. One of the more difficult situations for line judges is when a ball lands near the corner that is away from either line judge. In this situation, you need to make the call that is appropriate for the line that you are responsible for. One line judge may be calling in on the sideline while the other signals out on the end line or vice versa. That is appropriate technique, because if either line judge determines that the ball is out, That ball is ruled out of bounds even if the other line judge is signaling that the ball landed in on the other involved line. Today's players are extremely athletic and can make outstanding efforts to keep the ball in play. When a player slides a hand or foot between the ball and the floor, it is often referred to as a pancake, and if the player can keep the ball from contacting the floor, play continues. The line judges must assist the referees in determining whether or not the ball contacts the floor. If the player manages to keep the ball in play, the line judges should make no signal. However, if the ball does contact the floor, indicate that by signaling in and holding the signal until the first referee has had a chance to see it. Both line judges should assist with pancake calls anywhere on the court where they have a clear view of play. Occasionally, the first referee will have a different judgment of a pancake play than the line judge, and the referee will shake off the in call made by the line judge. The referee will only reject your in call if she is very confident that the ball was played legally and did not contact the floor. If that happens, just drop your in signal immediately and get ready to make your next decision. Occasionally, players move directly toward your position to play the ball, and you'll have to move to avoid being a hindrance. Remember, participant safety is paramount. In that situation, don't turn your back to the court. Try to back up while facing the court instead. Keep watching the play. Your call may still be needed by the referees. And sometimes, despite all your best efforts, you might be blocked from seeing where a ball lands and you have no information to give the referees. In that rare situation, quickly signal by crossing both hands over your chest to indicate that you cannot make a decision. Remember, anticipation and movement are vital to avoid this situation. In most cases, line judges have the best perspective to make decisions on in and out calls. However, the first referee may occasionally overrule a line judge's call. The first referee's elevated position may provide a better perspective of some plays. If you make a call and it's overruled by the first referee, don't be concerned and don't dwell on it. You need to be focused and alert for the next decision you have to make. It's very important for you to be decisive and prompt with your calls. The confidence level of the referees, players, coaches, and spectators will depend on your ability to convince them that you are seeing the ball clearly and making good decisions. In today's game, the ball is often moving very fast and sometimes right at your position. Try to avoid flinching as the ball is hit. Line judges are seldom actually hit by a ball. It may help to be prepared to use your non-flag arm as a deflector so that you have the confidence to keep squared up and focused on the play. New in 2016 is the elimination of the pursuit rule. However, the rules still require that every ball that is returned to the opponent must cross the net between the antennas. Line judges are often in the best position to judge the path of the ball as it crosses the net. It is important for you to understand all of the rules and techniques associated with antenna faults. So let's examine the techniques and rules you'll utilize for antenna fault decisions. There are two primary situations where an antenna fault occurs. First, it is an antenna fault when a player causes the ball to touch an antenna, the net outside an antenna, or any part of the net apparatus, including the net cables, straps, and posts, or the referee stand. In any of these situations, the appropriate line judge signal is antenna fault. Second, it is an antenna fault when, after any team contact, a ball crosses the net plane to the opponent's side by traveling over or outside the antenna. This includes a served ball. The appropriate line judge signal is antenna fault. Also very important for a line judge to know is that it is not the responsibility of either line judge to determine if players contact the antenna. When you have a flag, signal antenna fault by waving the flag above your head with one hand and pointing to the antenna in question with the other. When no flag is provided, signal the antenna fault by waving one hand overhead and point to the antenna in question with the other hand. When you see an antenna fault, signal immediately and continue signaling until acknowledged by a referee. Sometimes, after a ball passes close to an antenna, play continues and the first referee must stay focused on the play until there is a chance for a quick scan of the other officials. Continue making the antenna fault signal until the referees notice that you are signaling a fault. And remember, either line judge can signal an antenna fault on either antenna. Moving to a position where you can judge an antenna fault and still be in position for other calls is a real challenge. Anticipating where your assistance will be needed is a skill that you'll develop with experience. Here are a few guidelines on when to move from your base position to judge the ball's path. You must first determine if one of your lines of responsibility has no chance of being involved in the play, so that you can leave that line. For example, line judge 2 can move up the sideline to get a good view of the antenna on this play because the possible area where the ball can legally enter the court, shown in blue, does not include the end line. However, be sure to keep the sideline between your line of vision and the ball. Line judge 1 must use experience and anticipation to decide if movement is a good plan. Move away from the court to get a good view of the ball's path only if you feel the circumstances indicate there is little chance of the ball being blocked. The more likely a block is to occur near the antenna, the more you must stay near your base position in order to call the sideline effectively. Both line judges must remember that it is likely play will continue without an antenna fault or termination of the point. So, be sure not to move beyond the point where they could quickly recover and return to their base position. In this situation, line judge 2 must remain in base position as the possible paths of the ball crossing the net, shown in blue, could potentially involve either the sideline or end line that line judge 2 is responsible for. The primary antenna assistance in this situation must come from line judge 1, and just as in the previous example, line judge 1 may have to call the sideline if the ball is blocked by the opponent. So the amount of movement away from the sideline is dependent on that possible responsibility. Let's look at one more example. This ball will be coming toward line judge 1's court. When the ball is played by the team on the far court, and it's going to cross the net near the antenna on your sideline, the only appropriate movement to view the antenna is down the end line, on the assumption that your sideline is not likely to be involved in the next play. Moving will likely not help line judge 2 make a determination on the legality of this play. Line judge 2's sideline is still in contention, so leaving it is not an option, and moving up the sideline will probably not help make a determination on the legality of this ball crossing the net. Determining effective movement to assist with antenna calls is one of the most difficult skills for a line judge to learn. Try to watch experienced line judges work. And if you go to matches as a spectator, imagine what the best angle would be for a clear view of the ball as it passes near the antenna while maintaining a good position to call either of your lines of responsibility. Line judges also have the responsibility to watch for foot faults when a player serves. The rules define the service zone as the free space beyond the end line, limited by the short lines that are extensions of the sidelines. At the time of service, the server must be within the service zone, or in the case of a jump server, the last contact with the floor before service must be within the service zone. The end line is not part of the service zone. It is part of the court. At the moment when the server makes contact with the ball to serve, the server cannot touch the court or the end line. The service zone does include the short lines on each side, so the server can contact those lines or their extensions as contact is made, or as they leave the floor to jump serve. However, contact with the floor outside the short lines or their extensions is a fault. To signal a foot fault with a flag, wave the flag above your head with one hand and point to the line where the fault occurred with the other hand. When you don't have a flag, signal by waving one hand above the head and use the other hand to point to the line where the fault occurred. Remember that the first referee is watching the ball, so you may have to continue to give the foot fault signal for a short time until the referees see you. You should focus on the end line to watch for foot faults as the server prepares to serve. Most of the time, you can keep your feet in base position and simply turn your head to watch the server. After the serve is contacted, quickly refocus on the court in case you are required to make an immediate call. If a server takes a position within about 4 or 5 feet of the sideline near you, move just far enough to ensure that you are not a distraction. Move to a position a step or two away from the court on the imaginary extension of the end line. This position allows you to still assist with foot fault decisions. However, it is important to quickly return to base position and be prepared to make sideline calls immediately. Remember, don't adjust your position at all for a server unless she is close enough to be distracted by your normal position. One of the most important and difficult responsibilities you have as a line judge is to assist referees in calling touches. A touch is called whenever any player contacts the ball and the ball then goes out of bounds without touching an antenna, the net outside an antenna, or any part of the net apparatus on that player's side of the court. This includes when a ball is contacted by a blocker and then goes out of bounds on the blocking team's side, or any first, second, or third team contact that causes the ball to go out of bounds on that team's side of the net. When you have a flag, signal a touch by holding the flag in a vertical position with the top of the flag at about chin level. Place the palm of your other hand on top of the flag. When no flag is provided, signal a touch by bending one arm at the elbow with the palm facing you at head level. Turn the palm of your other hand away from you and touch the fingers of both hands. And remember, a touch signal is used only after the referee's whistle ends a play. Don't signal a touch if the rally continues or if the ball lands in bounds. Some touches are relatively easy to see, but in other situations, the contact by blockers may be minute. It takes a lot of practice and concentration to make good decisions about touches. Watch the play develop and then focus on the blocker's fingertips before the attacked ball gets there. After focusing on the potential touch, you still have to quickly refocus on the appropriate line in order to know and signal the correct call: touch, in, or out. At the end of a play, the first referee will typically look at both line judges after a ball has gone out of bounds to check if either one is signaling a touch. Referees develop this routine to be sure that a touch signal is not missed. It's not an attempt to influence your decision. If you did see a touch, signal it clearly and decisively. If you did not see a touch, just make eye contact with the first referee and do not signal. Do not just mimic the other line judge's signal for support. If the other line judge signals a touch and you did not see one, you should not signal. Either line judge can call a touch on a player anywhere on the court. You not only watch for touches on the team on your side or for touches near your antenna, but also for any touches by either team anywhere in the playing area. Don't use the touch signal if a ball is blocked immediately back to the attacker's side of the net, even if it's doubtful that the blocker touched it. When the ball is blocked back to the attacker's side and goes out of bounds on your sideline, just signal out of bounds. Sometimes, when an attacked ball hits the top net tape, it may or may not have been contacted by the block as well before rebounding back to the attacker's side. The only line judge responsibility on this play is whether the ball lands in or out. The decision of whether or not the block touched the ball is solely up to the referees. Players will often try to convince the officials that a ball was touched by the opponents, even when it was not. Don't be influenced by these comments. Most times, your first impression about a touch is accurate. If you have to think about it, there probably was not a touch. And there are limits regarding how much influence players can exert. Be sure to report unsporting conduct to the referees. There are a few situations that can occur that, while infrequent, require some advanced communication between the line judges and the referees. So during your pre-match conference, be sure to clarify any ground rules with the referees. For example, you may need to assist the referees when a ball touches an overhead obstruction over a non-playing area. In this situation, give the out-of-bounds signal. Or sometimes, when a player is chasing a teammate's errant pass, that player tries to save the ball using a pancake after the ball has left the court. If the player is unsuccessful, show the out signal if no defender touched the ball before it hit the floor. Use the touch signal if a defender contacts the ball and then it hits the floor. When the team on your side of the net chases an errant ball beyond the end line, not directly at you, you typically should not leave your base position to move with the player. The exception would be if the team has more than one contact remaining and the player's only chance to make a play would be a pancake. In that instance, move so that you can determine if the ball contacts the floor and then return to your corner as quickly as possible. Occasionally, there is some confusion as to which team actually caused the ball to contact the antenna. When the first referee needs assistance with that determination, a line judge can communicate which team faulted using specific signals. If the team nearest you caused the ball to hit the antenna, give the antenna fault signal and then extend your right arm straight out in the direction of that team. If the team on the opposite side of the net committed the antenna fault, extend your left arm with an open hand in the direction of that team after giving the antenna fault signal. And there are rare situations when the first referee may need to talk directly to a line judge. If the first referee indicates that you should approach the referee stand, be sure to walk around, not through the court, to get to the stand. Now let's recap. The 4 primary responsibilities of the line judges are calling balls in and out, antenna faults, foot faults, and touches. Work hard and practice frequently to improve your decision-making skills in all 4 areas. There are just a few more things to note regarding your line judge responsibilities. During a timeout in a match played by NCAA women's rules, both line judges go to the first referee's side of the court. When the second referee whistles to acknowledge the timeout request, both line judges roll their flags. The LJ1 stays at base position while the LJ2 walks outside the court along the end line. When LJ2 reaches LJ1's sideline, both line judges walk toward the first referee's stand and take a position straddling their respective attack line. Their flags are held with both hands, either in front or behind, depending on what the line judges decided prior to the match. If no ball crew is available, the line judge on the serving team's side should hold the game ball during the timeout. Remember, this isn't a time to chat with the referee or other line judge. If there is any conversation at all, it should be initiated by the first referee and related to your line judge duties. Return to your base position when the second referee whistles the 15-second warning, or if both teams return to the court early. And when a set ends, if there is another set to be played, the 2 line judges gather all 3 game balls and go to their timeout position near the first referee's stand while the teams exchange benches. Once the teams are in their new team area, the line judges cross the court and return the balls to the scorer's table. Depending on the playing venue, you may have a specific place to sit or stand between games. You do not have to stay on the court. Try to avoid areas where there is potential interaction with team members or fans, and do not linger in front of the scorer's table. Conversing with the scorer or second referee is not appropriate between sets either, unless the second referee initiates a conversation regarding your line judge duties. When there are about 45 seconds left in the time between sets, take a game ball with you and follow the same protocol that you did for the first set of the match, except the LJ1 doesn't follow the first referee across the court, but returns to the corner around the court. Deliver your game ball to the ball crew when the second referee rolls the first game ball to the server. If there is no ball crew present, the first referee may instruct you to help retrieve game balls between rallies. However, your primary responsibility is to communicate any decisions to the referees before going to get the ball. A player can always retrieve the ball if needed. It might be necessary, in rare situations, to alert the referees to potentially dangerous situations like wet areas on the floor, foreign objects entering the court, or loose antennas. Don't interact with coaches, players, or fans, even if they try to engage you. If a coach or a player asks you a question concerning your call, just make eye contact with your referees and do not reply. If a player or coach makes an inappropriate comment, report the unsporting conduct to the nearest referee the next time the ball is out of play. Do not interact with coaches, players, or fans, even if they try to engage you. When the match ends, it's important to leave the playing area immediately without discussion. In the pre-match conference, the first referee should explain an exit plan, where the match officials will meet to exit the court, together if possible. Line judges are not responsible for game balls after the match. After the match, the officiating crew should have a post-match conference to review the match. This is a great educational opportunity and may help you build a solid network within the officiating cadre. Listen carefully to any suggestions the referees have on improving your skills and discuss unusual or challenging plays. PAVO has developed a certification program for line judges, and many conferences and schools now require certification to be assigned. To be certified as a line judge, you must be a PAVO member and join the organization through one of PAVO's 90-plus affiliated boards. A current list of PAVO affiliated boards can be found on the PAVO website. Your PAVO membership includes the cost of NCAA registration, which is required for NCAA postseason assignment. NCAA registration also gives you access to the NCAA Central Hub website, which is where you'll find rule interpretations and a specific section called the Line Judge Corner with current tips and techniques on being a great line judge. Here are the requirements for basic PAVO line judge certification. Attend a clinic using current PAVO training materials. Congratulations! If you're viewing this video, you've probably already completed this step. Take the current year line judge examination and correct it to 100%. The exam is included in the current year PAVO line judge training manual. At most line judge clinics, the exam is used as part of the training process. For certification, the corrected exam must be submitted to the chair of the PAVO affiliated board you have joined. The exam must be signed by the PAVO clinic instructor. For the initial certification, obtain 3 recommendation signatures from any approved PAVO instructor, which includes PAVO national or state referees, an NCAA Division Conference assigner, or someone who has been assigned as a line judge to an NCAA Division I regional or championship match in the last 5 years. Recommendation forms are available on the PAVO website. To complete the certification and get your official certification patch, you must submit the corrected, signed examination, the completed recommendation form, and your annual dues to the chair of the PAVO affiliated board that you have joined. Check with the board chair about the amount of PAVO dues that you are required to pay. Once you're certified, the term of your certification ends annually on June 1st. Renewal information is available on the PAVO website. PAVO offers different levels of line judge certification, basic and national. We've just covered the basic skills needed for the initial certification. National certification is a more advanced level, recognizing those line judges who have demonstrated excellent skills. The additional requirement for national line judge certification are on the PAVO website. The list of certified line judges is circulated by PAVO to conference assigners at all levels, conference offices, and the NCAA National Coordinator, who makes NCAA postseason assignments. The opportunities to use your skills at the college level are increasing every year. So congratulations on your decision to improve your line judge skills. Building a cadre of skilled, experienced line judges is critical to the collegiate game today. It's exciting and challenging to be a part of the action. Being a line judge will fulfill your volleyball passion and help you gain confidence and decision-making skills. Training and experience will help you be more comfortable with the basic techniques and rules that a collegiate line judge needs. So get out there and practice as often as possible and work to develop the visual skills and focus that are needed. Enjoy this vital role as a member of the officiating team.